Everything you need to know and more about heating and cooling, electrical, garage doors, and plumbing is right here, right now, on the Absolute Home Service Podcast.
So glad you all can join us for the Absolute Home Services Podcast. I'm Vince Hauser, along with my co-host, James McCarter. James, what are we going to be discussing today?
Well, Vince, today, this time around, we're going to be giving homeowners information about pools and Suntime Pools, and we have got Christopher and Steve joining us today.
All righty. Thanks. So let's go ahead and get into some questions. As being in the pool business and being that this weekend it's going to be 0 degrees, I'm sure most people are thinking, what the heck are they doing bringing pool people on when it's 0 degrees? I was kind of thinking that myself when I say, let's get a pool company.
It gets me in a good mood, starts making me think about the warm weather.
Yeah, it's never too early.
Yeah. Anyway, so why would anybody be thinking about a pool in the wintertime? You know, what's the first thing that goes on?
Well, actually, it's almost time to start thinking about a pool. We start opening pools in March and getting them going for people. So if you have a pool, it's time to start thinking about when you want to open. Because I know at Suntime, we have a long list, and to get on the list to be scheduled to open,
So it's somewhat of a privilege to be with Suntime Pools.
We take care of a lot of people.
We do.
That's great. That's great. Well, I mean, that's why we brought you on.
Yeah.
I know you're all the dominant player, and we would never bring anybody on here that we don't think that provides an excellent service in the business and for anybody that listens to our podcast. So
Now, what are we looking at to open a pool? What's the kind of process there? So we're thinking about it now, and we're wanting to get on a list. Why is that? What kind of advantages are we going to gain out of that, and what are we actually looking to do to open the pool?
Well, the advantages to opening, and we like to open early. We tell our customers, you might as well open early, even if you're not going to swim in it, because one thing you have to do after you pull the cover back, and what we do is we take the cover off, and then we de-winterize it, because in the winter, we close it down and we blow all the lines out and plug them off. So in the spring, we just do the opposite. We get everything back together, but when we pull the cover off, sometimes you have a crystal clear pool, sometimes it's green.
50-50.
It's 50-50. And
what determines that?
Sometimes it's just the conditions when they closed it, but oftentimes if you have a mild winter, luckily we're having a pretty harsh winter. You have a mild winter, algae can just start growing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I've never owned a pool in my life, but so is the only reason to close a pool so you don't freeze? Is that
pretty much?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you don't keep the damage to a minimum.
Yeah. Because there is kind of a line that's somewhere in Tennessee, probably in southern Tennessee, where they just don't do it. They just don't winterize pools.
Right.
But up here we have to, because unless you're like someone that has a generator or something like that for backup, just in case the
power goes out.
Power goes out, right.
Yeah.
Well, you could call Absolute Services and we'll provide you a whole house generator.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah.
It just piggyback right on.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, unfortunately, because of COVID, you'll be waiting 6 months to get it.
And that's been a little bit of an issue too. That's another reason to sign up early, because there was a lot of people that needed it last year, and everybody was staying home, so pools were a major focus. So
I'm sure the pool business was booming.
Yeah.
There's no other recreation pool or camping or boating. I know were hot items last year.
Y'all start selling the blow-up pools and everything that nobody could get.
We should have.
Yeah, I don't think anybody could get those.
We were on a waiting list for a blow-up pool.
Are you kidding me? A waiting list for a blow-up pool?
My wife, I don't know how, but yes, we were on a waiting list through Amazon for one of those blow-up pools that we never got, by the way.
I didn't even know Amazon had a waiting list.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's a little off topic, but are you special or?
No, I never got it. Never got it. Might be special, but I wasn't special enough. So, going on that note, what kind of pools does Suntime offer, and how do you know the best pool for each particular client, whether it's in ground, above ground, blow up, a little plastic one? What are we looking for?
Well, we only do InGround and Fiberglass. That's our main two pools that we do right now. Basically, we'd have a consultation with our construction manager. He'd go out there and kind of look around the area and kind of give you an idea of what may work best for you and let you decide how it goes and what the property looks like. Some places it's a little more challenging than others, but
How does it work on the, I've never seen a fiberglass pool being put in. I've seen several of them going down the road, and I'm thinking, how do you get the dirt underneath that thing? I mean, do you have to get the dirt perfect match that pool before you set it in the hole?
Well, it's a pretty interesting process. So we dig out the hole and then get it perfectly level, and then of course a crane has to usually pick it up from the street, throw it over the house or whatever, and then drop it down. And then at that point, they're both filling water on the inside and shoveling gravel up around it, and you're constantly building it up as you go. So it's kind of a hands-on process.
Never seen that being done. It's pretty
I mean, of course, I in my early days, I was in the concrete business till my back went out, and we worked with a lot of in-ground pools, but I was like, how in the world, when that's sloping up, do you support that thing underneath there? I never knew that, but
He just wants to make sure when he's in the shallow end that he's not going to fall through.
right, absolutely.
that it's braced.
I'm a big guy, James. I mean, I don't want all the water coming out of my pool.
Now, can every homeowner put a pool in on their property in their yard, or are there certain zoning regulations that says what they can or can't do?
There are often easements, utility easements. You can even have floodplain easements and things like that.
You can't put a pool in a floodplain?
Surprisingly enough, no.
They float.
They float.
Oh, bingo. Well, I mean, if they're full, I would. Do they still float if they're full?
The hydrostatic pressure is what they call it. It's
All right.
crazy what it'll do. It can pop stuff out of the ground even when it's full.
Huh.
Yeah.
That would be crazy. There would be nothing worse than your pool floating down the river.
That's a mobile pool.
Yeah.
It is a mobile pool.
Everything else is mobile. Why not the pool? So I'm assuming that when it comes into the zoning regulations and things like that, and you had just mentioned Christopher. Sorry, I know you want to be called Christopher. No, I'm sticking with it.
You're sticking with it.
Yes, sir. Yep, I'm gonna retract that. So you'd mentioned the designing process and stuff like that. Are they the ones that's going to come out and go over where you can or cannot put it, what you can do, or really how's that process work?
Right. That's they'll come out and look at it. Also, it's a good idea if you're thinking about a pool just to call your local permits and regulation department, because they're all different. With Metro and with if you're in a small city, because some of them have regulations and then some of them just defer to Louisville Metro. I know that the one I live in, and I'm building a pool right now, they told me we just defer directly to Louisville Metro's regulations. Now you look at Anchorage down here, and they are sticklers for their regulations. They have to have a tree committee come out and decide what trees you can cut down and which ones you can. So it all depends.
That's why I don't live here around. I live way out where nobody can tell me what the hell to do with my trees.
Well, yeah, and then some of the others like Shelby County and Oldham County, they're a little different too.
So what's a permitting process like on pools? I mean, is there a separate pool permit? Is it a building permit? What kind of permit is that?
For Louisville, there's an actual pool permit.
And do you all pull the permits?
We do.
Homeowner does not pull permits. Okay.
So y'all really taking care of everything from design. Now, as far as the designing, so you mentioned a wait list. Is that wait list for getting new pools? Is that wait list for opening pools? It's both?
It is. The wait list for our construction, because our construction department's fairly small. We build about 15 to 20 pools a year. So we are right now 2 years backed up.
Yeah. Wow.
And the market itself is that way across the board with pool construction.
Yeah.
Everybody's
still going full throttle right now.
full throttle. And there's a lot of new companies popping up building pools too.
Yeah.
Now, what's the timeline look like? Service wise, like what what kind of a wait are we really looking at? If I'm going to open up my pool today and I give you guys a call and say, hey, I'm ready to open, realistically, what kind of time frame would we be looking at to get that serviced?
Today it wouldn't be bad.
Right.
If you called May 1st,
Yeah.
you might be a month out. The idea is to call us ahead of time and get on the schedule, because then if you have a slot for a week, we can take care of you.
It's one of those things that everybody wants to use at the same day.
Everybody wants
So it's just trying to space it out and make it so we can accommodate everyone.
Everybody wants their pools open before Derby.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
the 2 weeks before Derby, it is a madhouse.
Yep, our guys.
So do you all, I mean, you have like some type of membership type deal or a reoccurring service type deal? I don't know what that
Yeah.
is. So, if I sign up for you this year, then,
Yeah, we have a weekly maintenance or bi-weekly maintenance.
well, I was even meaning with opening the pool. So if I say, hey, you're all my pool guy, are you gonna just call me and say, hey, we're coming out on April 1st and we're gonna do this?
We give the customer a lot of leeway to what works best for them and let them know, and then we stay in contact with them constantly.
Okay.
We'll call you the day of generally if we're going to come out. Like we have it set up pretty much to the day.
hmm And then on top of that, you have the weekly servicing of a pool during pool season.
During pool
Right.
season.
I bet that's fun. Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that you all have a lot of seasonal employees that
Yeah.
do that.
We do. It probably gets up to about, I'd say, 60
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
at that time, and
Right.
it's a lot of college-age kids. They looking for stuff to do during the summer.
Right.
And what does pool service? What does that look like? Like, what are you doing? An inspection? Are you changing filters? Are you adding pH level? I mean, what are we doing on a service?
Well,
Oh, there's two types of pool service, and we do weekly pool service, just chemicals only, and then just also chemicals and cleaning. And what we do, we'll say on the full service, we come out, we balance the water, and we make sure that it's properly sanitized, and we clean the pool and check the equipment and make sure everything's in working order. We'll bring a sample back and have it analyzed at our office, and just to make sure everything's working right.
What's your feeling on the saltwater pool versus the non-saltwater pool?
Okay.
It looks like that's a hot topic. That's not on my list of questions, but sometimes things just happen in my head.
Surprise!
Okay, I'll give you my honest opinion on it. I think that the saltwater pool, it has a place in the pool industry. It does really well because what it does is the saltwater pool makes its own chlorine for you. So you're creating your own sanitizer, which is great. If you have a lot of trouble, keeping chlorine levels in your pool, if like you're like leaving our store carrying buckets every week of chlorine, then salt might be the answer for you. If you're out of town a lot and you're concerned about, and you don't have anyone say come and treat your pool or anything like that, it's constantly making chlorine for you. Salt's a great idea. Now, if you're the type of people that want to do it simply because the water feels good, you're not gonna recoup the money that you've invested in the saltwater system.
So salt is far more expensive then.
It can.
it balances out.
It balances out. If you're not using a lot of chlorine, if you just one that just I add this every week and everything's fine, you might not recoup it in 5 years. But if you're
Right.
one of those people that's constantly putting chlorine in, you might.
And bather use and other conditions factor into how much chlorine the pool uses.
Right.
So if it's heavily used, then that might be.
So you can explain. I'm a little confused on this. How it creates its own chlorine deal.
Oh, okay. So I'll break it
I
down.
mean, I don't want to a
He's
chemical engineer analysis, but if you just give me the brief overview.
I'll give you the brief overview of it. So, salt, adding salt to the water, salt is sodium chloride,
Right.
right? So you add that to the water, you create a sodium chloride solution. Well, this cell that we put in your plumbing releases an electrical charge that bounces off these two grids inside there. And what it does is it splits that sodium chloride in half and releases chlorine. So you're constantly making new chlorine, and it just recycles itself. So the only thing you have to do to keep that process going is keep your salt levels up. Now, the one thing when this has been going on, I think this popped into our industry about 20 years ago, and they didn't, no one told us anything. It came over from Australia, and
Right.
it was just like salt water is the best thing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
What you have to do with salt is you have to. It's not a just set it and forget it. You've got to actually treat it with things, because salt is extremely aggressive.
Right.
It's going to attack everything, any metals around your pool.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
I mean, you go to the beach and you can see that. And we were having things rusting out constantly, our equipment and stuff. And then they finally said, "Oh yeah, you need to do all these things to keep the salt from doing it." So what we do with our salt customers is give them these extra chemicals. What they do is they prevent all the corrosiveness and the scale buildup and stuff like that.
Yeah, I lived in Florida for about 8 years, and I had a boat, and so if you don't get that salt water off of that metal within a few hours, it's gonna have rust the next day. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And you can scrub it, and then you can come back, and it's still got. You're like, where the hell? I scrubbed. I used a pressure washer, soap, water, brush.
It's in the air.
Yeah,
You can go down there and walk around and not even get in the water, and then come out feeling like you're just covered in salt water.
And the same thing happened with the pools. And we would have a customer that had I think it was an iron fence that wasn't near the pool, wasn't getting splashed on, and it was rusting out like crazy. Like, what the hell's going on?
So there's obviously some.
Was that your
more
own fault
service.
then at that point, or
No.
So there's obviously some more service that's involved with having saltwater type pool. So if there were somebody who was around here that had it, whether they had the regular or had the saltwater pool, are there other plans? Would you recommend them being on like that weekly service plan that you guys offer, the weekly cleaning?
I think it's a great idea. I think we have 2 stores, and if customers want to do it themselves, they can bring samples in once a week, or even every day if they wanted to, and have their water tested, and we will tell them exactly what they need to add to the pool to keep it perfectly balanced. But if they want us to do it, we're more than happy to. Right now, I think last year we had about 200 weekly service customers. So, if they don't have the time to do it, we're more than happy to help out.
So time with me wouldn't necessarily play an issue. It's more or less of like an education / knowledge type of thing. So even though you're telling me exactly what I need to do, I still have this feeling that if I have a professional come out there and look at it, you all might see something that I wouldn't notice other than me just going there and dumping something in.
Absolutely.
You might see something else that I wouldn't. So
Right.
I would be more inclined to have you guys come out and take a look at
Things
it.
to look for that may be concerning, and just little.
Well, I mean,
preventative
not only
stuff.
that, but these chemicals, I mean, you're sitting here telling me that these chemicals can rust metal and all this kind of stuff. It's probably not that great to breathe or to get on you, and y'all probably have all the proper equipment or the PPE to not get it on your hands and to not, to really know what you can and can't do with it. So it's probably safer.
Right.
Well, I'd say if you just got a pool or you bought a house that has a pool, it's a great idea to have us come out the first year, because there is a bit of a learning curve figuring out everything you need to do. And by the second year, you may be more than adequate to take care of it yourself.
And so on the saltwater pools, does it change the like the water lines or change fittings? Is the construction process exactly the same of the pool itself when you go salt or non-salt?
More or less it is.
Okay.
There's different, I'd say, accessories that are salt friendly and ones that aren't. So say you were getting a diving board on your pool, we know now not to go with the certain types of diving boards. We go with salt friendly, just like with slides or lights.
Okay.
Handrails.
Exactly, handrails.
Right.
Yeah. One thing with the service too that's also I think important for customers to know is that we guarantee our service. Like when we're doing winter closings and stuff like that, because if you don't close your pool right, you can do thousands of dollars of damage, and that's one thing that we own it all.
Oh yeah, I would say on top of the under the ground damage, the above the ground to get to the under the ground would be difficult.
So it's definitely beneficial to let us do the openings and closings.
I mean, because even the in-ground pools, some of them, and you correct me if I'm wrong, have linings or liners in them, right?
Right, they do.
And you can probably do, I mean, those things, I wouldn't imagine that would be something that's very inexpensive to actually swap out if
Right.
you were to do any kind of
And
damage to
that's
it.
where your chemicals and taking care of your chemicals really factor in. That adds a lot of life to your liner. If you don't treat your chemicals properly, you can destroy your liner in a couple of years.
How long does a pool liner typically last?
Right now, it's about 8 years is the average.
Alright.
I mean, if you take care of it, you might get a few, 10 to 12 years. And if you do a terrible job with taking care of it, it could be 4, 3 years. Yeah.
How big of a process is that to change the liner?
Steve, you go.
Is it a day-long deal, a week-long deal?
Well, we generally will come out and we'll get the measurements because it's all custom.
Correct.
So you gotta, every measurement's gotta fit perfectly.
Okay.
So
I guess you are the pool liner installer?
no,
Or you used to be, and
I
now
used
you're
to
the,
be.
you go put in the pool liner that I measured.
Yeah, but it's that right there. And then, we order it and it takes like about 10 days or so to come in. And then we go out there in a day and just tear the liner out and smooth out the bottom because, over
Is
time
it
it washes
typically
away.
just sand underneath it? What's the bottom of a pool underneath the pool liner? I never even really thought about that.
It's kind of a poolcrete. It's a mixture,
Okay.
and it stays solid,
Okay.
but it also absorbs and kind of, lets some of the water absorb in, so it's preventative on that.
And I know you all probably hate this kind of question because I do when I'm asked it, but what's a pool liner cost? I mean, is it like a $2,000 deal, a $10,000 deal? The reason I have a family member. Well, my sister. I'll just say it. She's got a pool. She bought a house with a pool, and the pool liner's like falling out. And it leaks
Right.
like a sieve. And I was just curious. What's a pool? Is it like a? Yeah.
I think right now the range is probably $3,000 to $6,000 on most of your average size pool.
And that's
Right.
just draining it down, you coming in, putting all that in, and then I get to pay for the water to put back in it.
Right.
Okay. Well, that's not
Yeah.
as bad as I thought. I
Yeah.
was like,
No.
A lot of pools now have a lot more bells and whistles and things to
Right.
work around than the old standard rectangle pool, and
right.
now they got bench steps and sun decks and
Y'all have an app for pools yet?
What kind of?
Not there yet. Everything has an app nowadays. What's the best pool that in the area that we're in? Is there any pool that is better for this area?
I prefer liner pools.
I do too. We've just always built liner pools. We started
Right.
building fiberglass, but I'd say that when Steve and I got into the business, it was probably 70% liner, 25% gunite, and then 5 to 10% fiberglass. And we're just very accustomed to it. But the fiberglass, they do well. I think the big difference between fiberglass and liner for me is the fact that with a liner pool, you tell us what you want, and we can pretty much design it.
Yeah.
Right.
With a fiberglass pool, it's about 20 different shapes, and
Right.
that's what you get.
Yeah.
Another thing with that too, that I like liner pools a lot better too, is the fact that, after 5 to 8 years, the other pools start to fade and look a little bit. You throw a new liner and then the pool looks brand new again.
So for example, in garage doors, we've got wearable parts like the springs, the rollers, end bearings, different things like that. On pools, other than, because we've already talked about the liner, is there any other maintenance that would have to go along with parts that only last a certain amount of time?
Yes, pool pumps, filters, heaters, lights, whatever different things you have on there. But the basic ones with, like, say, pumps, they typically last about 5 years, right? But right now we have a big changeover going on, and that's coming this year that after, I think, July, the manufacturers are only going to be making variable speed pumps. So these motors are just going to have variable speeds. All single speed pumps are gone. So So
more energy efficient.
More-
That's what it's
exactly.
more environmentally friendly.
That was actually going to be my follow-up to that. Is there any different types of pump, which is, you know, any kind
Right.
of energy efficiency or
Right.
like that? So that's awesome.
So yeah, if you're looking for a single speed, get it now because they're already running out. We're already seeing like the supply chain just kind of breaking down.
I mean, is there any advantage over the single speed? I know, I mean, we do heating and air, and I know, I mean, that's the first upgrade that we do is go to a 2-speed or a variable
Right.
speed.
It's just more basic, and there's
Right.
no pushing buttons or stuff like that for the customer.
Right.
So it's just a little more simple.
I'm guessing that it's going to be a lot quieter. I know I get around
With
with
the
the
variable
pool
speeds,
pumps,
yeah.
and it's like, ooh, man,
Yeah.
you got a diesel
Yeah.
generator going back there? Or-
And with those, you get to decide how fast you want to run it and how many
Right.
RPMs, which is great because
It can save you money.
because you don't want to run it at full speed all the time, but you do want it to run all the time,
Right.
and that's kind of where we've jumped from single speeds with like timers to the variable speeds, which is
Right.
So you can set them on schedules.
Yeah.
So I'm just thought about this. I think about a lot of things while we're in there, but so I mean, what's the use of a pool pump anyway? I mean, is it just to move water around?
it is. You've got to have circulation. That's one of the keys. It's circulation, filtration, and sanitation. So we've got to get the water constantly moving, or it's going to sit and things are going to start to grow. So yeah, that's the main reason for the pumps.
That's kind of nasty if you think about it.
It is.
Yeah, you don't want a pond. You don't
You ever looked
pool in
inside
the
the
ponds.
I've spent a lot of money the last couple of years digging ponds, but I don't swim in any of them.
No. You don't want to see things growing in your pool. You don't want to see little squigglies or no.
And that's one of the things we can do right this time of year too, that we offer a discount if people want to do equipment changes.
Right.
When we're not busy, we can give you, 20% off?
Outstanding.
And we can come out and do that now and set you up and get you ready for the season while we're kind of at our slow time and helps
Right.
everybody out.
We're doing pump installations, sand changes, which is the filters have sand in them, or majority of them do around here. So we come change the sand, usually change the sand about every 5 years. So we're doing that in the off season.
Right.
Any other equipment?
And the sand is where again?
It's in the filter.
Okay.
So you've got the big tank that's next to the pump, and that's
Yep.
getting all the nasty
It
stuff
catches
out.
it catches all the funk.
It catches all the funk.
I don't want to look in that either. Then
It's not
It
pretty.
gets
sometimes.
wasted out most of the time.
Right.
It gets cleaned out, backwashed out. So
right now, see, my dad, he has a pool at his house, and every so often that I'm there, I see him doing different things to it. But one thing that I've never seen him have is that little, I'm going to call it an upside down buoy. I don't know what it's called. It's got the chlorine in it, or the tabs.
Yeah,
What's it called?
chlorinator.
Okay, so he doesn't have one of those, but he also dumps 5-gallon buckets of something in his pool. Is that the same thing? Is that like his maintenance, or what?
That's his
what is he
maintenance,
doing?
yeah.
that's probably a liquid chlorine. Is
Liquid
probably what he's
chlorine,
dumping in.
Okay.
So
And he does that after there's been a lot of people in there.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Bather use kills the chlorine, in the sanitation part of it.
So he wouldn't have to have that chlorine.
So as
really
nasty
float
as
around.
James is, he'll use a lot of
He
chlorine.
uses 2 buckets when I
He never dumps chlorine until James comes over.
He's like,
That might be the only reason why I see him doing it.
Man.
So, you guys mentioned earlier about the construction process, and then, of course you're a little ways booked out right now, but how does that really take place? I know you guys talked about you have a design team, you're going to come out there and really, go over what kind of they want. What's the process from there, and what's our timeline? I know it's going to, it's going to change from different ones depending on the size of it, but how soon are we actually going to move forward? And when we start breaking ground, what kind of time are we looking for completion?
Well, usually our process before we start digging, it can vary. It may be just the next person in line. It could be probably 1 to 3 months from, say, when you finally sign the contract. when you get to digging, it's usually, I'd say, 6 weeks to 3 months, and that's all depending on weather. Weather is, of course,
Huge factor.
yeah. We can, and in wintertime, because we're building right now, sometimes it just hits, we hit a wall and we're just can't do a thing for a week.
You do the things you can do in the cold weather, and then you're going to have to wait for a 60, 70 degree day to do some of the other things.
And then you get the rain
With the
on top of it.
Yeah.
with the waiting period, surely to goodness you all can't hold a price. If I buy a pool today, are you going to hold that price for 2 years?
You wouldn't buy it we're today. When you get up higher in the queue, then we'll actually formalize it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
I get to ask permission if you'll. will you?
Things change on your end and things
That
change
is
on our end.
a wonderful spot to be in.
And I'll say that right now, say for example, if you were on to, and you signed a contract, COVID has slowed everything down for us.
We are aware of that.
Our steel, usually we could get our
supplies.
steel for our pool in a couple of weeks, and when I ordered the steel for my pool, it was 95 days.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and
it's everything.
everything. Liners have been the same way, and then it pops back, and it's like, oh, we got a liner in a week, and then it's like, oh, next week, no, sorry, liner in 4 weeks.
Right. So we're trying to keep as much inventory as we possibly can, because we know we had some shortages, and
Right, and I'll say for like homeowners,
we do our best.
If you're in the need of different things, liners, filters, pumps, go ahead and do it, because it could run out again.
Exactly.
Right. Yep.
Yep.
That is a wonderful
Plan ahead.
position to be in, though, where you're talking about a 2-year wait list. Because I can tell you, in our world, and with all the trades that we offer, if we're 5 minutes late, there's typically a call. I mean, we would and it's they call at 10 o'clock in the morning, and we need you out here at 10:05.
Yeah.
Having a 2-year lead time would probably make it a little easier for us to operate, but.
That's only one segment of our business, though. We get a little bit of that.
So
too.
yeah.
Now, what is, random question, but important, what is the most important thing a homeowner needs to know about their pool?
Don't let it turn green. Don't let James in it.
That is one part of it.
Keep buckets of chlorine.
The less, if you let it go, it's a lot harder to get back than it is to if you maintain it the whole time.
I think that's probably it. If you have a pool, proper maintenance is the most important thing.
Right. 10 minutes a week or something about that lines.
I think
Save
about
you
it. You wouldn't just let your yard grow.
Right.
Yeah. Either you're going to cut your grass or you're going to hire someone to do it. And the same thing with your pool. You can't just leave it, because it's going to end up costing you a lot more in the long run.
Right.
Now, I do have one question. This one too. This one's pretty important. Also, safety aspects, because I'm sure there's a lot of accidental drownings or different things like that. Is there any requirements to have some type of railing or anything like that, or is that something that you guys would suggest to do, or like one of those
Covers.
right, that you can't really go through but walk on?
We love the automatic covers.
We're installing most of our pools, new pools now, don't they have auto covers?
They do.
So that really
You guys
stops
are kind of
that.
a step ahead of it anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
But most municipalities require you to have a fence.
Right.
Or something, some barrier between a kid or a person and the pool.
Insurance
And I would say
company
probably
does as well.
Probably 90% of our customers have safety covers for the winter time that prevent that as well, like the cover you're talking about.
Now, those
To me,
are
they look like trampolines to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I actually saw that on Home Alone when he walked in the pool. You remember that? So what are they, and I ask this because I know if I had a pool, I've got a lab that would run, he would dart around all over it. Are they, I don't want to say animal proof, but are they kind of like puncture resistant? Like if a dog was to walk on them or anything like that?
The covers, yeah.
Yeah, the covers are great for that.
I bet you all love that in the pool liner business.
Getting a dog trying to get out of the side.
There's a few.
There's
few
some
of those.
scratch marks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or just the random possum or raccoon that gets in, and you're like, what the hell are these scratch marks at the water line? And like,
Yeah.
oh, claw marks, that's it.
I don't know if I want to see
Can those
that.
be repaired or do
They
you,
can be.
Yeah,
Okay.
Just patch 'em.
We can
as long as
patch
they're not too bad.
Yeah.
uh,
I mean, if it's just a small tear, we can always patch it. That's the
Right.
great thing about a liner pool.
Yeah.
I'm sitting beside Vince right now, so these ideas are just coming to me here, being filled with them. What is there any type of cleaner or like a detergent that you do not recommend putting in a pool? And then piggybacking off of that, is there any type of toy, whether it's those pool noodles, because I know those things like shred up and get real small, or like the plastic floats. Is there anything that cleaner-wise or recreational fun-wise that you guys say just don't put in your pool? Nothing.
I wouldn't put household cleaners in the pool in the first place because
Yeah.
you don't know how they're going to react.
Right.
Um,
Break down the vinyl.
The great thing is that the pool
probably
industry.
ingesting a little bit of that as well.
The great thing is the pool industry has cleaners. If you're needing like to clean the surface of the
Right.
liner or your steps or something like that, go with those because we know those aren't going to affect the liner
Right.
or fiberglass or whatever surface you have.
Right. Because most of the time it's the steps that people.
Mm-hmm.
They're wanting to get the scum line off.
Right. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And in your brushes and stuff like that we have, that we use pool brushes, they'll take the scum line off.
Yeah.
And
Is that included if I had a weekly pool service? You gonna clean or is that
Clean scum lines?
Yeah.
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 Cool.
When we open the pool, that's one of the parts that
Yeah.
we do is clean the scum line and scrub the deck so you try to get the.
Does somebody
The
come
vinyl.
in that nastiness is down there?
No, you do it from up top.
Because I see some pools in the spring and I'm like, holy cow!
Yeah.
The ones you see with the frogs in them, and the snakes, and all that stuff. So now, what about pool toys? Is there anything that you don't recommend putting in or using in the pool?
I mean, things that aren't meant to be in the pool.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
I
this
know that's
one-
kind of the question,
yeah.
but
Well,
So,
this
Steve,
one
do you
just-
have a pool?
yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's like a pre-employment requirement. But
You gotta have
No, I didn't. I only got one like 2 years ago.
Now, and the only reason that I asked this is because I've actually, my dad told me that this is what happened to his, those little pool noodles, right?
Uh-huh.
You smack people with them, you hit
Right.
them, they lay outside, they started to deteriorate, and they actually got in and clogged his,
Yeah.
I guess the filter or the pump
right,
or
yeah.
something. So I didn't know if there
They
was
break
anything
down.
else. Right. Anything like, little
Right.
water guns or something that, what have you guys seen that's damaged a pool?
I can't really think of. I mean, yeah, I know what you're talking about with like the stuff like the noodles where that will clog up filters and it's a nasty kind of floats on top and
Yeah.
I mean that's not a fun fix, but it's simple and it goes away. But I was thinking more things that would like
Harm.
put your lawn chair in the pool and sit there and think that that's a good idea. That's
Oh, so we can't put a table in the middle of it and run like power strips.
having a glass table around the pool.
Yep.
That's a wind blows those things over all the time. We've had to we've lost a few liners that way.
We have.
Well,
And
the liner, this is really now I'm thinking about it, it's probably a dumb question, but that liner's on the floor as well, or the bottom of the pool,
It is,
yeah.
and the wall. So
Glass around the pool is probably the worst idea.
so that no glass around the pool is really for the pool liner.
Well, it's for
we don't
feet,
care if
too.
you cut your feet.
Don't
mess up
cut
my
our pool
liner.
Now, what about what do you guys put on the edge of your pool? So my dad has got one of those metal things, and I can't tell you how many times we're at cookouts or we're at this, and I always hear, "Stop stepping on the edge of my pool." What's around the edge of y'all's pool? Is it a metal? Is it concrete or?
it is
tough.
concrete. Yeah, it'll be concrete. The concrete basically goes up to the edge of the pool. We used to have, when we used to build them, we had a coping, which would be a stainless steel or a metal that would
Right.
go up. The concrete would go
Act
up
as a
the
barrier
Mhm.
to the concrete.
So really, there's nothing that's going to push down on the walls of the pool.
One question I had, you mentioned earlier there used to be a lot of gunite pools, because when I lived in Florida, that's all they do down there
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Why would you not want to do a gunite pool here? I mean, or is there
Oh no, there's
there's still a big business
Yeah.
here?
yeah.
Okay.
It's still a big business. The difference probably is that gunnites are typically twice as well. Maybe
Cost.
yeah, 1.5 times the amount of a liner pool, maybe close to 2 times the amount. That's the big reason. They also take a little bit longer in the process, just because you've got to shoot it first and with the shotcrete, and then let it cure out before you can do that. But no, there's still a lot of them out here.
Right.
So and those pools don't have any type of liner, correct? I mean,
Correct.
the gunite is. So what happens when because all concrete cracks?
It does.
Do you all do? You don't build gunite or
We don't, but if it does crack, what they do, and basically it's the plaster that's on the gunite, and if it cracks, they'll just resurface.
You just
Which
lose
is
all
expensive.
your water.
You do. and with those, it's probably a 15 to 20 years before you have to resurface it.
That's not bad, but it costs a lot more to get it initially.
Yeah, it's expense is probably the biggest reason.
Right.
That's pretty
But
interesting.
I'm sure your unlimited design though is that's the advantage.
It's the
right?
advantage. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, is there any better time to purchase a pool?
No, I think any time is a great time to
You
purchase.
got a
Yesterday.
2-year waiting list.
I-
I mean, you better get
yesterday.
on the list, James.
Yeah.
You might be dead before the pool's built.
I would say, start checking them out as soon as possible. I will say that now that there's a large demand for pools, there's a lot of people coming out and building. Just do your homework with whoever your builder
that's
is.
very important.
I see all these new companies pop up, and I don't know who they are. So just do your homework.
I'm
So-
sure your business probably has people that are kind of fly by night. That,
Oh, absolutely.
and,
Well, I mean, we do.
and that's
both-
what you got to be. That's what he's trying to warn people about. Be cautious. Do your homework. Make sure you got a reputable company that's going to stand by their work, because this is a big investment, and you want to make sure that it's done right and you
What?
don't get taken advantage of.
On that note, see, I mean, of course, we have multiple trades. Some trades are licensed, some aren't. Well, I guess really only garage doors is not. I mean, is there there's no prerequisites in the pool business to become. I mean, I could go out there with a magnet and become a pool builder, correct?
Correct.
Now I do pools.
Now you do pools. All you have to do is
Very
line
specific
up
car to bring up.
line up a few trades, because you do have to, on pools, you have to pull an electrical permit.
Right.
So you need a licensed electrician. If and whoever's going to run your gas line, say for your heater, you'll need a licensed plumber.
Right.
Do you all? I mean, when you all build a pool, is all of that done in house? You all subcontract that? How does that?
We
process
normally
work?
do
We have
subcontract.
guys that we work with.
Yeah.
You know.
Unless the customer has somebody they want to use.
Right. And typically, when you build a pool, I mean, are you taking over that whole backyard where you're doing all the finished concrete, or is that still the same kind of scenario?
We do a lot of our own concrete. We have subbed it out in the past, but I'd say right now we're doing the majority of our own flat work.
Yeah.
Right now we're doing our own excavating. Like I said, the only things that we don't do, or we don't have tradesmen on staff.
Right.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but don't you guys have a new showroom opening up?
We do. We have
Yeah.
a new store opening in Middletown on Shelbyville Road. It's the shopping center where Popeyes is. Is that correct?
Yeah. There's the YMCA, and I think there might be a Ken Towery or something.
And where's the current one?
You got the Department of Motor Vehicles where you get your license. It's right by there. That's
So you can get your license, a pool, some chicken, and work out all at the same time.
You got it.
Hey,
I like it.
that's a weekend.
That's a good day. That's a great day.
maybe not in that order.
Well, hey, you know what? That brings me up. Chicken and pool. All right. My parents used to tell me, y'all may or may not know this.
Where this is
Hey,
going?
Here it goes. Here it goes. Do I really have to wait 30 minutes before I get in the pool after eating? Or was I just lied to as a kid? I know y'all aren't doctors,
I saw.
but do y'all hear that?
I saw I don't remember, one of those science guys type deal, and that was total BS.
I was
what I've
lied
heard
to.
too.
Yeah.
I was lied to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, you were right.
So
you
where's
were
your?
gullible.
Yeah. I believed it. I believed it. And then they dump chlorine in after I get out.
That was
You
James.
just been
Keep your
hoodwinked the whole
nasty-
time.
Keep your nasty chicken away from the pool.
Maybe that's it. He's eating chicken in the pool.
Oh, eat
plate.
chicken in the pool. Yeah.
Get my greasy hands out of there. What? So where's your other location? So you have the one in the shopping center over off Shelbyville Road. Where's the other one at?
Other stores in Crestwood,
Right on the main drag in Crestwood.
Main Drag in Crestwood.
Kind of by
So-
the Dairy Queen and what's that hardware store right there?
Stess.
Stess, right
Mhm.
there. Yeah.
Okay. And are there? What are the two differences between those? Is one? Is it like a showroom, or is one like a chemical store, or what's the?
They're both chemical stores.
Okay.
They do all the normal things, the testing and stuff like
Right.
that. Go ahead.
The new store is going to also. It's not quite done yet. We're still working on it, and it may be a little bit before we can get shipment in of product. But we're going to have spas there as well. So that's going to be one more factor. One more thing that we're
Like a hot tub type.
Yeah.
deal? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, gotcha.
Now y'all are speaking my language. There was actually something else you guys had talked about. Something else that you do in addition with pools too. It was the
Green
the
egg.
green egg. Yeah.
Yeah, so we sell the Big Green Egg, which is like a all-purpose cooker. You can grill steaks in it. You can barbecue in it. You can make pulled pork, ribs, stuff like that. You can basically treat it as like a baking oven and make pizzas in it. I've heard of people actually making muffins and cakes in them too, which, if you like your muffins with a little bit of a smoky flavor.
I don't see that as a bad thing.
No.
I do like muffins.
I like food in general.
Food.
So how long have y'all been in this area?
We have been in business since 1976. We've had our stores since the early 80s, I believe. So yeah.
Wow. Are the original owners still involved with it?
The original owner is still here. He's, I guess, president emeritus of the company, George Hogue. Yeah, but it's the next generation.
I'm guessing
Yeah.
he's probably not building too many pools anymore.
No.
Being that I was 3 years old when it was started, I just put the timeline there. I know I
Showing his age
aged
here.
myself. James wasn't even a thought at that point.
Nobody had chlorine for me yet. So you'd mentioned earlier about the cost of the liners. It could be anywhere between $3,000 and $6,000, and I'm sure that there's an expense with building pools or anything like that. Do y'all offer any type of financing or anything for clients that's looking for whether it be maintenance or new construction?
We do not. Our customers usually just go to a bank to for
Right. The
financing.
rates are still pretty low.
And then, so in like on the service, I'm assuming it's just like a monthly withdrawal or monthly.
Yeah.
How does I mean? If I hire you to take care of my pool, I got to stand out there with a check every week.
No.
No.
We typically our customers give us a credit card and
we
we
just bill when service is done.
and with weekly service the way they bill is every month.
Monthly.
Right.
Pretty neat. So what's the best way for someone to get in contact with Suntime Pools?
The best way is either to call our offices, and that's 502-426-8906, or our website, which is www.suntimepoolswest, all one word.com.
And then, because we have a pretty wide area that listeners come from, what's your all service area? Just so that to know whether they're not they even need to be calling.
It's pretty big.
It's pretty big.
Okay.
So Jefferson County, Oldham County, Shelby County, Trimble and Henry, Bardstown, Spencer County. That's pretty much our area. And Bullitt County.
We got so like Lebanon Junction's the furthest south you go, or you go to E-Town, or
We don't go to E-Town.
Okay.
Yeah.
all right, and don't cross the bridge, or do cross the bridge.
Right now we do not.
Okay.
We have one customer.
What?
Is he the owner?
No, he's been with us for a long time.
He's probably been with us since the early 80s. So.
All right. Did he recently move over there or something?
No.
Oh, okay.
Just taking care of him.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's $10 to get over there and back.
I know.
So, yeah, we have a hefty toll bill every month.
Oh, I bet.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, well, all right. Well, I appreciate you all coming in. I actually learned a whole lot about some pools today. And I want to encourage some of my friends that have pools to listen to this episode to pick up some valuable knowledge.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks for having
And
us.
to hear my jokes. I mean, really, that's the main thing. But
He likes to get a couple of laughs. Y'all gotta laugh at that one.
Yeah. Yeah, if you have any questions, just contact us.
Yeah.
That's one of our, I think that's one of our gold standards is our customer service.
Mhm.
That-
all right,
The ladies in the office are doing a great job.
Yeah.
awesome. I mean, is that that process? I mean, the phone answering. Is there several of them in there that answer it year round? I mean, have we got questions on pools or?
Typically there is. Right now there's we're down to 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But typically throughout the during the heat of the season, the office is full. You've probably heard.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I can. Yeah. I would think that would be a frustrating thing to manage your all's major swings in
Yeah.
employee needs.
Yeah.
Throughout the year.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, I thank you all for coming in here today. And anybody have any questions about a pool? Give Suntime Pools West a call, and we'll look forward to hearing from you all again.
Great.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.